Are you good?
Is that okay?
Totally. I tend to go back and forth, but I'm pretty good at projecting over the top.
I go back and forth, and there's usually a happy ending.
Haven't you missed us?
I've missed you guys so much.
So much.
Like people that are more inappropriate than me. It's amazing.
And then we go out. And then we go in. And then we go out.
Little swirl.
See, Nemo didn't know he was being naughty when he was going in and out of the anemone. And just for good measure, go in and go back out. One more time.
What are you talking about?
Nemo. We go in.
I don't watch that movie.
It's the very
opening scene of Marlin and Nemo.
I've been spared that movie from my children. Was
Nemo?
Like, they were not.
Nemo's got to be my favorite because there is a dental, like the dental terms in there are like, have you loosened the periodontal ligament with the elevator yet?
Yeah.
Like,
the fish or the actual dentist. You would actually like Nemo. It's really funny.
I've seen it. I have not seen it
You haven't
repeatedly
memorized
to
it?
know all of
Gotcha.
the dental
I didn't
terminology.
see a PG-13 movie until I was 14. So.
Oh my God, dude, you guys! Victor is watching. This is probably part
Is he still
of why
Googling butts?
No, he's now Googling.
Boobies. It's boobies now.
No, we have not graduated to boobs, but it's Minecraft tutorials on YouTube, and it is drawing tutorials. He's obsessed with drawing and art, which is actually like
that's cool,
kind of great. But like today, like on his second grade live school, he's supposed to be doing this particular art project with the teacher who is live and like, you know, amazing and doing her job in the best possible way. And then he is the little dickwad who like goes and searches his own drawing tutorial and wants to do his own art that's like totally not what the class is doing. And I had only been like out of his room for 15 minutes and then came back to like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're in class. Like if you were in the classroom right now, you would not get away with this. You would never get away with like doing your own like whatever shit that you felt like doing. You have to do what you're supposed to do.
But he's expanding his mind.
Free thinker, entrepreneur at its finest.
He is sucking the soul out of my core every day that we have online learning.
I had to tell my son at a couple teacher conferences ago, he got in trouble for talking too much. Shocker. It was my son. And I said, buddy, it's not about you're not in trouble for talking too much, because at one point in your life you will probably be paid to rock this strength of yours, but learning time and place is a whole nother thing. So being able to not crush his soul.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
You shouldn't talk at all.
I keep telling Victor, like, this is your practice. Like there is so much of life that is like really boring and really monotonous and sort of easy and like what feels like it's beneath you. And guess what? You still have to show up and put your best face on and do the work as best you can. And like also to just give the people around you the respect of like your effort, even if it's not what you want to be doing or if it's not like that challenging to you, you still have to do it. Like,
well, hindsight is 20/20, and for us, I work with several individuals that are new to the field, and listening to them try and tell me how to do their job that I've done before. So with your son, it's like you have to do all the menial tasks because at some point you are going to work in a field where you've come up that ladder, and to hear people bitch and moan about, oh no, this isn't gonna work and I can't do it this way. You're like, dude, I've been there, I've done that, I know your job, I know what you're capable of, I know what it takes, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, well,
and
you're never gonna have the respect of your team if you're not willing to get into the gutter with them
100%.
Sometimes and like get
do the shit
done. Yeah.
Gabby, she kind of laughs because she's like, well, but you do this really well. I'm like, yeah, but honey, and she's like, but you hate it. I'm like, totally. I absolutely hate it. But I hate not being good at something more than I hate that thing, right? So it's like fundamentals. You have to do some stuff that you don't like sometimes.
Totally.
And you still should want to be good at it, even if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it's overall, winning the game or, team mission or whatever that's the point. It's be good at the fundamentals. The stuff that you like will be more fun and still be challenging.
Yeah.
The stuff you don't like, it's equally challenging. It's just you got to get your headspace right.
Yeah.
And that's hard to articulate because Victor's 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, awesome, 7-year-old. Global pandemic.
Yeah, I know.
And infinite screen time.
Right.
And act like an adult.
Exactly. It is.
Let's
It's
go
an
with no,
impossible. Like
Mom.
we've put ourselves in this impossible place. But I think that the golden light at the end of this tunnel, if there is ever going to be an end, is that these kids, and I guess us too, like we will have like so much more coping and capacity for.
Well, and appreciation.
And appreciation for
Like
sure. But like just the part of like
core appreciation.
the self motivation, right? Like this is the thing that I've had to fully shift is I am a extrovert. I need people. I like need people to be functional. Like if I'm just relying on myself and I only have to like show up for myself, I'm actually just a fucking sloth. Like I won't do it. I'm very happy to lay in front of the fire and read a book and like not do the things if it's just me holding myself accountable. So I think, and I don't think I ever really totally knew that about myself until this, where like not having you guys and like not like where were you Friday, like 17 text messages like when I don't show up, right? Like I can't show up because it's not the right thing to do.
Closed.
It was
Like,
it was
there was
closed.
that,
And then well, and then even just me taking myself out where I was like, I can't be in here with all of these people and like my exposure burden, just I can't bring that to this place.
Yeah.
And then just trying to have to shift back to like putting myself on a running schedule and like getting up early and just doing it on my own just for myself. I'm like, holy shit, this is not who I am. And I've had to like make it who I am.
It's interesting because I live with more of your personality, which my husband is much more the extrovert, and I am, an introvert and an extrovert living together, and he's a teacher, so he's used to dealing with 180 kids, and that's just the kids. That's not the faculty, that's not the parents, that's just who he's in front of every day. And on the introvert side, on my side, I see 5 to 8 people in a day treatment, and I am done. I'm like,
no more
my
people.
wad, I'm out of here. And so not getting a chance to be by myself and just take care of myself. So I'm on the reverse. I don't have to put myself on a schedule. Yeah. Taking care of myself is an absolute necessity. So when I have a little puppy dog of a husband, can we go? Can we go? What can we do? What are you going to talk to me about today? Da, da, da. I'm just like, back the fuck off. Like over Thanksgiving, the extrovert and the introvert really, like, I had way too many people and too much brain space and too much effort on other people, and I just wanted to withdraw into my cocoon. And he's like, how come we aren't doing this and doing that, and why aren't you paying more attention to me? And I'm like, I can't give you all the energy that you need. That's not available.
Yeah.
So like it would be like me and you cohabitating.
Yeah. No. I do. Like I married the introvert, right? It's pretty common to have like
Mike is
super introvert. So dude, very beginning of quarantine, like I was like, oh, look at you, your best self. Like,
right.
So like living your best life.
Oh, I've never seen you so
happy
and like, and taking care of himself. I think that's the big
right.
reflection of like your inner happiness is like how well you're taking care of yourself. So I fell fucking apart. Like I just went in. I mean, probably maybe like a version, like a variation or a level of clinical depression. Went like in a hole. And then he is like best sleep hygiene of his life, like eating really well.
Blossoming flower.
Oh, blossoming flower. And I'm just like, and then my reaction because of who I am is
fuck
like,
you.
Fuck you. I hate you. And so we've both like grown into this, but actually the introvert extrovert like marriage thing, I never appreciated his introversion until I read this book called Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Won't Stop Talking.
Ooh,
and as an
good
extrovert
title.
reading that book, I was just like, oh, I have been like killing all the introverts in my life, and interestingly, like
Been murdering
all
my
of
husband
the,
slowly over 20 years.
Die a slow death of
all of my
words.
all of my like closest people, like my inner circle, all introverts.
Really?
Everybody,
So
every
it means-
single one.
So we're not on inner circle then, is what you're saying.
Well,
She
she's
is.
an introvert. No, I'm talking like my sister, my mom, my
Yeah.
husband, my best friend, like grew up with, and then like the two best friends that I've kind of created in my adult life. All of them introverts, like pretty like on the scale.
At least it makes sense to
far on
me
the
that
scale.
you balance. I mean, you cannot
Yeah.
possibly like. I
So
just
how many introverts does it take to balance out your extrovertedness?
I think it's like 10.
10 to 1.
10 to 1 is the ratio.
Oh, that is absolutely fabulous. And what's even better about that is you've got 3 kids, and each of them have a different version of you and Mike.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they are all a total like blend of both of us.
Yeah. Well, so, and obviously we've been rolling here and talking through some things. 2 things that stood out is that you being so extroverted, yet one of your favorite physical pastimes back in the day was rock climbing, which is purely isolation, you and the
No.
rock. No,
Oh my
but I mean
gosh.
like the actual activity itself. Like
Yeah, it
you were
involved lots of boys.
It was
And
Chasing
repelling
boys.
with
it was
half-naked
chasing the
men
boys. Yeah.
in the sun.
Yeah. Never forget, like Lovers Leap, California. Oh my gosh, these 2 guys were camping right next to me and my climbing partner, and they were from not Austria, but really close to Austria. Holy shit. They were
Estonia.
Estonia. They were from Estonia. And
Oh,
they
I
were
remember
like
this- I remember this
walking.
story.
Good pull.
Beautiful Estonian
They were the most
gods.
beautiful men I've ever seen. And then like we like climbed next to that. I was just like, oh my gosh, I could do this forever.
Them or this?
No, I mean, I love the climbing.
What's the
Can we do this?
distinction?
I
off
did
the
really
rock?
love the climb, but climbing is definitely not an well, I guess you can be either, but like it's a partnership thing, and then there's the
You and
community,
gravity.
right? The like subculture of rock climbing
Right.
is like this huge community. So it's both. It's both.
It's still, I'm
It's
still
kind of like this.
Yeah, I'm still kind of blown away by that because I mean, obviously, you like being here and with the group and training, but people that are motivated. But you're also really good at motivating people that don't know how to motivate, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
But the flip side is, you also do crazy long runs. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, really long shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
And that is sort of isolating.
That
I
is
guess,
super.
But,
Yeah.
But the thing about running is that it is. And I think the only way to really explain it or like rationalize it is that it is a form of meditation.
Okay.
Like when I run, sometimes the first 2-3 miles are wicked and they hurt and it sucks and it like my ankles are sore and everything's just like not in place, and then you just blow through that, like you just get through that, and then you can just like just go, like your head is not then like you're not connecting to your body anymore, and you just lose like time and space, and it's a beautiful thing, and then you're like, oh, I just did 18 miles, right?
That's crazy.
But like I cannot listen to music, I cannot listen to books, I cannot listen to podcasts, like I cannot have things going into my head while I run, or I can't disconnect.
Get the stuff out.
I can't poof. I can't like lose time and space if I have things going in. So I don't understand people that run with music and things in their head. I don't know how that. I feel like that would just make me. It would just be a suffer fest for like the whole time. If you were aware of your body that whole time. If you were like thinking the whole time. Like I don't think. I don't even know where I don't know what happens, but just.
Well, I mean, that would be purely meditative.
Right, and
there.
it
I mean, that's
happens
the
in
point.
here too.
Yeah.
You see me. I can't even count.
You can't count.
I can't use
No.
my brain if my body is like really going.
No, I think it's fascinating because, like, of course, in the gym setting, it's a little more intensity and bigger explosive movement stuff, which takes focus. But it's just that single movement at each single rep. And I mean, I'm always interested to see how people react to different workouts and different training sets and things. But the skill set you've developed to be able to do that is what makes you good at not just the running, but like working out and everything else. Is just you have a strong base to draw from where you can compartmentalize one rep at a time, or if it's a 2K or something, something that sucks, you don't freak out about the whole thing. It's just like, okay, cool, just do this stroke, do this rep, throw this thing, that kind of deal. And that's, I mean, because how old are you, 32 now?
Yeah, 32. 32.
But I mean, you've built that over 40 rotations plus around the sun. And then, same with you, Julie.
Well, I'm on the flip side of her.
Yeah, that's what's so fascinating to me.
It's the theme music. Like I wanna go through life, and I disconnect from my body, so I can do hard things because my brain can't tell my body you're hurting. So I like hearing music. I like moving. I like the intensity of sound while I'm doing something. I mean, how many times have I been in here and I'm complaining?
Change the radio.
I'm like, this sucks.
Change the song.
Because I can't hear myself breathe. I can't hear myself think. It's the overthinker, overperformer. I must be doing something wrong if I'm huffing and puffing, and why is it hurting so fucking much? And if I can disconnect with the music.
Does the music drown out your overthinking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So mine is suppression versus disconnection.
Distraction. Yeah.
Because I just get in my head too much. And I would much rather have a conversation and hear a sound go boop and click.
The beeps. Yes,
yeah.
the beep workouts.
I can't count for a different reason. Not because I'm out of my head, but because I'm too in my head. And I'm like, okay, did I do that right? How come all the things? Like, it's just, my head talks too much. I can't get my head to be quiet.
Yes.
So
but with
the
practice,
music,
I think with practice, that's like the whole concept of meditation, right? Is like you eventually, like with repetition and practice, you get it to quiet down. Like you can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the goal of yoga.
But then what's it's interesting that a lot of people, and I'm not one to judge anybody's methodology, but it's more like, hey, let's find what works for you.
Oh, for sure.
And if distance running works for you, that's awesome. Distance stuff I hate, but I also grew up as an interval sport person, like, basketball, football, but, it's like start, stop. I'm wired that way now. And so it's like, sitting down for, like a 10K, I mean, I had to have Paul do it. We listened to a podcast and we were talking to each other the whole time about how stupid it was and how much it sucked and boring. Because like 3 minutes in, which it takes like,
3 minutes,
38 minutes to do, we were already bored, but it's like, how are we going to get through this? Because we got to do it. And
I mean, stationary long stuff is a whole other level of challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like mental, like I don't get super into the really long stuff on a machine.
Right.
Like I've hated treadmills for my whole life. Like
but you go drop 18 miles outside, no problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. But if I try to run 5 miles on a treadmill, I fucking hate my life. And I also don't run straight. So my dad used to
the arms, the guiding on the treadmill.
My parents have always made fun of me for like
bumper bowling.
But yeah, so if I do
strike,
if I do start to just like disconnect on a treadmill, I'll weave and then hit the plate, like the side plate, and then like
eat it.
So I'd always rather run outside, no matter what the weather. Like give me snow, give me pouring rain, give me like hot. I don't care. I'd rather run outside.
Well, and that was kind of the thing. Like, in thinking back to, if you'd have told me in high school or college, hey, go run 12 miles or go play a basketball game, which some could be the equivalent of 8 to 12 miles.
Yeah,
I'd do that in a heartbeat. But if you told me to go run 12 miles, there's no way.
Yeah,
like I couldn't stand it. Even on the distance stuff. Like I don't know if it's because of the wiring or the training just paths that I like, but I compartmentalize everything. It's like, cool, 10K, awesome. So how many 2Ks is that? 5, awesome. So within that 2K, I'm going to do this and this, and I just start breaking it down into a shit ton of intervals. But it's kind of like, 1 little domino, 2 dominoes, 3 dominoes, check. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I only got 2K to go. Mm-hmm. That's not so bad, but I am literally thinking about it the entire time.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know why, because it doesn't do the meditative thing for me. It's a discipline grind of just like, okay, I got to compartmentalize this and do it. I don't like it. But other things, and it could be the sports background or just the way people come up and are wired different. I'm more at ease in something like this where I don't know what you're going to say next. I'm just reacting to it. I'm like, my head's totally clear, or like the any kind of game or shooting or anything where it's like read, react, respond. I'm happy as a clam when it's 100% reactive and structured and set up and just like, like doing an 18-mile run where it's not reactive. No thanks. Well, like Spartan, you've done Spartan races.
Yeah.
And Spartan's the same thing. It's like, hey, go run 12 miles. Fuck you. Hey, go do a Spartan race. It's 14 miles in Tahoe at 8,500 feet. Sign me up. It's like, because there's stuff to do in the middle of it and it's painful, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny how you can, I mean, because both of you are athletically gifted in what you can do and move your body, and yet two wildly different paths, you know. And then obviously I'm a train wreck, but you know, you see that with I find it interesting that we all can work out together. You throw Paul in the mix, or you know, Kayla or Amy D or Shannon, you know, and Matt and Ryan, you know, we're all way different,
super different,
but we all train really well together at the intensity level, even though your headspace is you can't count. Your headspace is I need, you know, Pavlov's bell to do my rep. You know, it's like ding, rep, ding, rep. You know, and then I'm somewhere in the middle, you know, with a couple of other guys. But yet we all work really well together as a team, especially like if we've been back when we could doing like relays and stuff, like we crush stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's like I think that's the beauty, right? Is like all the different walks of life coming together and like uplifting each other to achieve the same goal. And then like you're saying, you know, people looking at a 12-mile run or an 18-mile run and being like, oh my, you know, it's mindset.
Right.
So you hear that, or like, let's do a 10K, and if mindset, 100%. So if your first reaction is, like, I can't do that, I don't want to do that. Like, of course, you're going to have a suck fest when you sit on that machine and try to do it, or when you go out there and try to do it.
I think
but break it down into those smaller parts, right? Like, even if I'm sometimes on a bad run, I mean, there's runs where I don't like get to disconnect, and I am like in this suck fest the whole time. And if it's 18 miles, I break it into 4s, and I'm like, okay, that's like I make like the last 4 miles or whatever. It's like, oh, that's one more lap around the track, and I just like mind trick myself to be like, look, I already did 3/4 of it. I got one more lap left. I like equate it to laps on the track. I don't know, just stupid little mind tricks like that. And then I sing James Brown's "I Feel Good."
Yes.
Over and over in my head if I feel like shit. It's like mantra.
I think when it comes to intervals, though, it's not it's not breaking it down for me. It's showing up for the team. And I cannot and will not give some my partners, my teammates, half of me. And so when I know that they're laying it all on the line, that I'm not going to show up and just be like, yeah, my 30 seconds is just going to rest, because they just killed themselves. And being able to focus in on what can I bring for them mine's more relational.
Yeah. Team.
Not necessarily. Again, my workout is not a. I can't overanalyze it. I overanalyze everything else in my life, and fitness cannot be overanalyzed for me. It's my safe space. So if I show up for someone, hands down, even if I'm feeling like shit, you will get 100% of what I can offer on that day.
And so for you, that's like head clearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's like a toilet flush. All the shit down the toilet.
Down the drain. That's the thing that's so interesting to me, is because you both come at it from a different space. Like, you would not necessarily enjoy running with somebody that was talking the whole time. But right? I mean, because it's that auditory, right? But you might run with somebody like Mike really well, because maybe you're both just able to do the 18 miles quiet.
Actually, we always run pretty quiet together.
Yeah, nice. And that's like, case in point, hate distance. Paul and I have done some fun stuff. I've had a few other guys I've done, distancey type things with, and it's like, I can kind of ebb and flow with either, but it's always more interesting when you've got somebody to do it with, just as a shared suffrage kind of experience.
Loves company.
Exactly. I mean, it's a cliche, but it's because it's true. And I find it interesting, and it kind of comes full circle to, even us sitting here wearing masks in the middle of a pandemic, which is, hopefully going to be getting better sooner, and that we're sitting here in just an interval, right? We've got 1/40th or 1/44th or whatever number of trips around the planet, around the sun. For us, it's a small percentage, but for the kids, it's like, hey, this has been a 1/7 of my life.
Yeah.
But we've got 3 very different people just sitting here right now that have very different headspaces of how to clear their head from work or family or bullshit. And one of the primary things that's been removed from authorized activity is fitness.
Yeah.
and the benefit that has, and everybody's like, oh, you can just do it from home and remote. It's like
No.
you would
definitely not
probably
the
be
same.
you would
Yeah.
probably be fine with that, more or less.
No, that's I haven't been doing it. Like
Well,
I'm not
But the
that
running
person.
side, like you can
I can pick
go
up and
right,
switch back to
but
running,
there's other
which
people
is
that
perfect
like
pandemic activity. Yeah.
yeah, they've just totally shut off, and
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to see. It'll be retrospective, but everybody's like, oh, we're all going to get fit. It's like, no, we're not getting fitter. People are just getting more
Nobody's
complacent.
getting. Maybe some people are getting fitter. I don't know anybody getting fitter right now. And it is a really terrible consequence of this virus that, it's like shutting down the fitness industry is not, like the governor being, biased towards fitness or not recognizing the benefit of it. It's just particles. It's how this shit spreads. And athletic breathing is, first of all, the 6 foot thing and so in
You
physical
mean the
distancing.
shit-faced breathing and the guffawing across a bar
6 feet
doesn't fling particles?
6 feet is not magical. There
No.
is nothing like magic or guaranteed around 6 feet. That's just kind of a guide in general for regular breathing, regular conversational breathing. You add a cough, a sneeze, or athletic breathing to that, and you've got particles going.
15 feet.
Way, way beyond 6 feet. So I think because it takes a lot of trust in like the gym management, right? And
Right.
the gym clients. Like I look at my patients in my lobby in the emergency department, and you can't have mass compliance with humans. It just doesn't happen. Like people take their fucking mask off because of like a billion things, right? Some
Sure.
people take their mask off to cough. And I'm like, no, like that's not the point. I know it's really gross to like sneeze and have this thing on your face and it's just like,
It's like sharding your face.
right, it's sharding on your face. But like that's why we're doing this, is to contain that shit. So I hope that like there can be some kind of answers for our fitness industry, and like the outdoor stations that we have
Yeah.
here at Forge are like the answer, like going outside for your high cardio stuff.
Right.
And then if you need to be in here lifting with a mask on, like totally fine. I think that there is a way to do this safely. Unfortunately, if you're looking at big picture and like typical typical humans,
Give an inch, they take a mile.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been hard to watch because you've got, and I mean,
Like the super center fitness places.
right. I mean,
Or
it's
like
just it's a cruise ship. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just
exactly,
it's a big
exactly.
contained box that can't be, adaptable.
And there's just the N is too high, right? You have
Right.
too many people. Like even if you're only allowing 25 people into that facility and it's a huge facility,
Right.
like, you can't monitor 25 people.
No, you can't. And it's also 25 individuals, that are going to make
Right.
an individual choice to pull their mask off to sneeze or not. Well,
Right.
okay, now you've just corrupted everybody,
Right.
because you had a brain fart. And it's not necessarily all malicious. And that's one
Right.
thing that's kind of hard. Like, people seem really edgy right now, and have been for a while because they've been cooped up, and then everything else going on socially.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of judginess.
a lot of judginess.
Yeah.
And kind of the hard part is watching how people are just not understanding of, hey, everybody has a moment, and sometimes they're not always in the right mindset, or they're brain fart. Like you said, you got somebody in the lobby at the ER pulling their mask off to cough. Ugh, it's like, but it's not like they did it on purpose. It's just
No,
it's,
and
it's,
I mean, yeah, and
it's the
it's-
inconsequentials. But then
Exactly.
yet people come down on them, and it's maybe it's part of that kind of cancel culture thing where it's just like, oh, I'm just going to eviscerate you and scorch your remnants. And it's like,
Yeah.
But or the flip side is people that don't take it seriously at all and want to say, masks are bullshit, the lockdowns are bullshit, this is all fake news, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, but it's not. It's in the middle. It's not one extreme or the other. It's not, everybody needs to live in a hermetically sealed hamster ball. But there
Well,
is
for now we do.
Well, because we keep
Because
fucking
we fucked it up twice.
right.
Yeah.
And which is
3
an
times.
interesting
Right, wave 3.
thing too, because it's like, yes, it's not been perfect. I had this thought the other day of kind of, it's like, have we really learned anything?
No.
And I don't feel like as a culture we have, because we still have so many people that will not accept the fact that regardless of what you think about Corona, go look at the flu and cold transmission rates right now. Why are they down? One, because we're socially distancing and things are down. But the other side of it, people are considerably more conscious about their hygiene. And if I not that I want people to get yelled at the grocery store, but I'd rather have somebody be like, hey, ass face, you didn't wash your fucking hands after going to the bathroom. Or you came out and sneezed in the middle of the thing. And well, it happens all the time with guys. It's like, I wish there was like a red light camera where it's like, you didn't wash your hands, you get like photo radar taken. And it's like John doesn't wash his hands.
Red light with the big.
Yeah. Gross motherfucker.
Big brother.
Well, there's that too. But but it's not a complicated equation, and it's extremely simple for you given where you work. The hard part is you're on the far end of the bell curve where the only people you see are in crisis and in trauma. And what's hard to get across is that the middle ground isn't, I mean, for all the people that have wicked COVID cases and symptoms and, deaths, there's a giant populace who've contracted it, maybe been completely asymptomatic, or maybe had light symptoms, didn't even realize they had it. So there's a spectrum.
Yeah.
And what's tough to manage right now, even with trying to help people with their fitness and stuff, is like, hey, there's more than one way to get after this, but balance is the key, and we can't have one extreme or the other. And I just feel like people are so frustrated that they're taking too many extreme measures to either fight the mask or promote the mask. And part of why I wanted to chat with you officially, about it is because you've got a unique perspective, because you're still being socially engaged, with your cohort, your family, but you've been able to navigate this and manage it at a level 1 trauma center.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. So.
Well, we started with flattening the curve, right? And we did that.
So yeah, that is a good place to start. So Oregon did a very good job, like from the gate.
Right.
And we did flatten the curve, and we did like that closure or that mandated closure for, what was it, 6 weeks?
No,
it was more than that.
It was
2 full months.
Yeah, 2.5 months,
maybe,
depending on
maybe even 3.
That did it. I mean, if we could have like reaped the benefits of that, like into. Okay, so what happened, in my opinion, is like we did everything right. Oregon did a really good job. And then through the summer, everybody traveled.
Right.
And other states who didn't do a good job and or who had just a different timeline than us, right? Because we were, like 4 weeks behind New York. We were 2 weeks behind Seattle. Like this hit the country in different waves.
Yeah.
And so we had our lockdowns uncoordinated and at different times, and it was all reactive, right? Nothing in the US was proactive about COVID. And so we are just still playing catch up. We still don't have PPE. Like 9 months into a pandemic in like the greatest nation in the world, like we are using compromised shit. We're reusing PPE that was not manufactured or designed to be reused. We are extended utilizing, which is not best practice for patient-to-patient transmission. We are using substitute products that are shit and unsafe, that don't work the way that they're supposed to work. So like the whole point of closures was to protect the medical infrastructure. And I think what I really want every Oregonian to know, I want the whole world to know, is Oregon has pretty decent COVID numbers, especially compared to some of our states. Oregon also has the lowest number of hospital beds per capita of all 50 states.
Wow.
So, yes, our COVID numbers are not as bad as like Utah and Michigan,
but
our fucking
horrible.
beds are terrible, and we don't have staff, right? So, like in a normal national crisis, your what are they?
Travel nurses?
No, like tsunamis or
gotcha.
Normal natural disasters that happen.
Right.
You can
FEMA,
call in the
Red
National
Cross,
Guard,
yeah,
right?
right.
Because the National Guard gets pulled from all over the country,
Right.
and they work in private industry. But like when you pull from everywhere, it's you're not depleting one system to like pay another because you're pulling from everywhere. We can't pull from everywhere right now because everywhere is in it with us. So, masks are not an option. It should not be optional. I
Right.
totally agree with a mandate, and I think we need a national mandate. And if anything, the solution is a nationwide shutdown. Like if we from the beginning, as an entire country would have said 6 weeks, lock it down. No flights, no ground travel. Like, if that means we aren't getting trucks of food to wherever, like, whatever, just lock the shit down, we could have been done.
Or at least significantly better off.
We could have been done, like, for if everybody would have actually locked it down in a coordinated national effort. But we didn't have national leadership. So now we're like living this, still chasing our tail, like trying to catch up, and people are tired of it. And I mean, I admit, like, I felt the fatigue in my personal life, and I, watching my kids be isolated from their friends and being like, okay, Chloe, you can see this person now because you haven't seen a friend in like 6 months. Like, let's get you connected with this girl. And then, like, I was doing that at the end of the summer.
Right.
And if I'm pretty strict, like, the fatigue that was on other people was probably more like, we're going to have this 25-person barbecue, and we're going to like go see the grandparents, and now we're feeling the effects of that.
Well, one of the things that in our dental office that I'm the resident asshole there, because they forget about the bubble effect, right? The bubble, the overlapping.
You're the resident advocate. You're the safety advocate, not the asshole.
Well, I will proudly wear the term asshole at my office. It's fine.
They both start with A.
But one of the things that they forget, where it's like, well, we have a patient who let us know that his daughters had been exposed to a secondary COVID exposure. So they played soccer with a daughter whose mother tested positive, and they were outside and they were in masks, but it had only been 5 days since that last one. And doctor was like, it's okay. They haven't tested, they don't have any symptoms. And I kept saying, they said they're coming in for their appointment in the afternoon. And I thought about it and we sat down prior to that for a staff meeting. And I'm like, the longer I'm thinking that I'm having to see these patients, I need 2 rules. I need them to either show up with a negative COVID test and asymptomatic, or you wait 2 weeks. Like, I need it to be simple. In my world, I need it to be simple.
I think that would be, first, we can't test.
Not like that, but
we aren't even testing every hospital admission.
It needs to be available, and that's one of the drawbacks to this. The
answer is you operate your business assuming every person has COVID.
100%. It's universal precautions. Absolutely.
Yeah. When you're wearing your N95,
absolutely,
and you have your downtime between clients, which I think is awesome.
Yes.
And so I think I would love to recommend like all people to your dental office, because a lot of dentists are not doing that downtime between like people in the chairs.
But asymptomatic means nothing with this virus, because there are asymptomatic carriers.
Right.
And that is the problem. It's like, passing an STD that you don't even know you have, because there are no, and you didn't even get taken out to drinks or dinner for it.
Right.
So
you didn't earn it.
You didn't groom me properly to take this on.
Yeah.
So that is where I keep trying to remind people, yes, you are asymptomatic. So testing checking your temperature.
That's so sad. Like,
it's bullshit.
It is total bullshit.
It's complete bullshit.
A temperature check is not catching anything except for like a well into the infectious.
Yes.
And ill phase of COVID.
The reason that the body's response is raising the temperature is that there is something to fight.
Yeah.
And when you don't have something to fight, it's not going to, that internal furnace doesn't kick in.
Yeah. The nice thing is, though, like when you have the PPE and you wear it correctly, it does protect you. I mean, like 100%. I've been working in a COVID cesspool since February, and I am in it. And I have not gotten COVID, I don't think, although we don't get tested. So I guess I might have COVID. That's like when I walked in here and you're like, are you COVID free? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have symptoms. I can say that. But yeah, like, the science is pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
It's particles, it's how they travel, it's your time of exposure. So like you're high risk because you are sitting with that same patient for an hour?
Yeah. With
so it's like your
aerosol,
proximity, time, and then like
Aerosols.
particle generation.
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple stuff, and then you add those together, and that's your COVID burden. And so that's why PPE is cinch. I mean, like we have got to get on this shit.
And until
start
we
manufacturing.
do have some kind of a working vaccine that's available, the testing needs to be available, and it needs
Testing
to not
is
be
the
a
answer.
3-hour fucking wait
Yes.
out at a fairground.
Exactly.
With other people standing in
With-
line. It's what, and
Yes.
that's the thing that's like been.
It's so it's
well, it's car. You're in a
contraindicated.
car. It's
Yeah.
car line.
For some
But
of them, but
still,
some are
it's 3
standing like in some of the other
hours.
states they're lining up
Oh,
outside. You know,
really?
it's like the poll booths and the
Yeah.
the voting booth thing, kind
Yeah.
of same situation. Actually, they use some of the same facilities for that. But what's my concern is, so the vaccine's on the horizon, quote unquote. Of all the people we know, you're probably going to be one of the first,
Yep.
given your job. Which just so it's level 1 trauma nurse.
ER nurse.
ER nurse. There
Yeah,
we go. Okay.
yeah.
So the resounding sentiment that I hear, not just around social, but just also social media and everything else, like, awesome, the vaccine's going to be here. We don't need to worry about it. It's like,
No.
no,
That's not
it's
true.
a Band-Aid. It's not a fix.
We also
It's
don't know how long the protection of that vaccine is even going to last, right? So
Right.
natural antibodies start to taper off after
90
like 2 to 3 months.
Right.
90
So
days.
like a vaccine generated antibody response, we kind of don't know.
Yeah, and especially this new mRNA distribution is really don't know.
Yeah.
And
yeah. This is
so
pretty, 10 years of medical research.
Yeah,
Right?
and thankfully it's a SARS virus. So we've
Yeah.
got a lot of information. I mean, if you look at Lysol cans, they explicitly since 1956 have said that they are their cleaning products can kill coronaviruses.
Yeah. 'Cause there's
People are like, oh, that's
billions of
awesome. They just developed.
coronaviruses.
It's like, no,
No.
that's been
Coronavirus
around
is
since the
not
Korean
new.
War.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's the whole the vaccine Band-Aid thing. It kind of, I look at that as like, great. This is just another. It's just another Lipitor or another Band-Aid of, no, we're not fixing our problem. We're not becoming healthier. We're not striving to be a healthier group. We're not striving to make healthier choices. We're just going to wait for Big Brother, big
hand
government
us a
to hand
pill.
us a pill or hand
Yeah.
us a fix, when the reality is to the point of
Lifestyle modifications.
and also a lifetime of fitness and being driven, not to the extreme where it's like, you're Estonian rock climber guys.
Man, I
you
wonder
don't
what
have
those
to-
guys are doing right now.
The clouds parted
Oh
and
my
the sun
gosh.
came down.
Whatever it is,
and
I'm sure they're
beams
doing
of
it
light.
with a load of attractive people.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Well,
but
think of how attractive our country would be if everybody took fitness seriously.
I do want to
I mean-
I want to use this, yes, advocate for fitness and advocate for lifestyle changes and people cleaning up their act, and these are all things we should all talk about and encourage, promote, all this stuff. But I want to speak to this culture of writing off our fellow Americans with pre-existing conditions, comorbidities, like
they chose
they
it.
are not less of a human. They
Yeah.
are not less deserving of life.
Correct.
So all these people who are just willing to throw them under the fucking bus,
Yep.
and the healthcare providers along with them who are in the trenches serving them,
Correct.
and taking up your bed for when you crash your skateboard or when you crash your motocross
Or mountain
vehicle
bike
or when
yeah.
your healthy, fit mom or dad has an AVM rupture in their head, those are all ICU needs. And when we're full of COVID, we can't do a good job on all those other things because we're already full of COVID. So we need to respect our fellow humans, our fellow Americans who have pre-existing conditions, who have comorbidities, who maybe aren't in the best shape, who don't have the healthiest lifestyle. We need to stop shaming them and throwing them under this bus of it's your fault and you're going to die of COVID because you didn't take care of yourself. That's not okay. So we need to uplift everybody.
Right.
We need to empower everybody to take care of themselves and to be their best, most fit self. And I'm really tired. And I think the fitness industry is very guilty of this, of really throwing these people under the bus and saying, well,
100%.
you're not healthy and you shouldn't take my fitness away because you've made bad choices. I know the frustration. I want to be in here too. It's just not the right thing to do. until this is a little bit more under control.
Well, and I mean, part of even the generation of this whole discussion and podcast is specifically that, and you guys have been around multiple fitness establishments. And if you look online, social media wise, and the primary messaging coming from fitness is exactly what you just said by a bunch of super fit, for the most part, celebrity fitness people
And selfish.
and I mean, you ripped somebody a week ago, and I was just like, oh, high fives
I had
all
a
around.
really bad day at
But it
work
was,
that
but
day.
the best part about the
I
bad
see
day,
this like super jacked guy with his finger up to the camera with no mask on, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
and that's exactly why I loved it, because you were so tired you took the filters off and you just fucking let it fly, because that's what needed to be said. And it's tough because a lot of people are afraid of fitness. I do credit Peloton. I think that what they did was they were the first to do the really, really good job of integrating online social
Yeah.
with fitness.
Yes.
I'm not a huge fan of bike only
Well,
for anything.
I will
I'm
say
not,
Strava might have been the first.
yeah, but not everybody can run.
Right, that's true.
And that's the thing. It's like, that's awesome
there's
for you.
Zwift now,
If you,
too.
but if you told me that I had to go run to get fit, I can't do it, D.
Yeah.
I have an artificial joint. I physically can't run. There are a lot of people.
Can
if-
I
if
tell
somebody-
you? Can I tell you about the runs that I've been doing?
You can. I want to know.
They involve Luna squats.
Oh God. Dingo deadlifts.
So I do like circuits with my dog.
Right.
And I like, depending on what interval I want to do, like I'll run. One day I did 6.5 miles, where every quarter mile I stopped, did 15 front squats with my 45-pound dog. Like,
Who is legitimately half dingo.
who hates it? And she just like,
She looks at
she's
you.
just
all
so
judgy.
mad.
This is humiliating.
And
Mom.
then 15 push-ups, and then run a quarter mile, stop, and then 15, and it was like intense. It was a good
Right.
workout. Yeah.
And that's something. I mean, obviously not everybody has a dingo, but you got creative, right? Because I mean, I
Yeah.
know you've got gear at your house too, but you made
just
it
suck at
something
using
that
it.
you could do. And my whole thing with the fitness conversations has always been like, yeah, oh, you're a cupcake or you're a whatever because you're not getting off the couch, fucking less than me, blah 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 blah. It's like, man.
Empower someone with that energy.
Lead with a carrot. Don't lead with a
shame
stick. Don't make
people.
them feel bad, because they
Yeah.
already feel bad. They're already not in a good headspace,
Exactly.
And now
They're
we've got
already struggling. We don't
Right.
need
Right.
to kick them while they're down.
Yeah.
and that's
You're drowning. Here, hold this 50-pound weight.
yeah, right, yeah. Here, hold on to this. If you can't swim, fuck you. I mean, that's basically what we're saying.
Graduate to SEAL status.
That's basically what we're saying with people who have underlying conditions. Like, hey, you're drowning right now because of all the shit that led up to the point that you're in the deep end of the pool. I'm going to hand you this 50-pound weight, and if you don't swim and you don't survive, fuck it, sorry. And I just don't.
It's like, here's a 50-pound weight, and here's my yacht, and I'm gonna have a giant
Right,
like
and
raging party
and rightfully speaking,
in
they-
front of your face.
and they've probably earned the right to have that yacht, which I'm not taking anything away from people who've had a lifetime full of fitness and healthy choices. That is absolutely awesome.
Yes.
That's not my point. My point is more of, hey, there's a lot of other people out there that haven't found their person or their people yet, and to go to
That
the
support
negative
system.
and be like, hey, you're a cupcake for not getting off the couch. It's you're the problem. You got to be like me, blah blah blah. It's like, no, you need to find or help those people find their people, right? I talk about this a lot, and
Well,
Paul
but
and Leo and I,
that's the irony of the situation. Don't be around people now.
right?
Don't find your people, but don't be around them.
Yeah, but and that's what really has me concerned, is that it's like the messaging out there is not positive. It's not empowering. It's, hey, people with the opposite end of the spectrum, hey, you got core mobility, sorry, tough shit for you. They're not looking to bring people into the positive fold of like, hey, okay, I get it. All right, you're whatever, call it 50 pounds overweight, or maybe your blood pressure's through the roof or whatever. Give them solutions. Don't give them Band-Aids. The vaccine's a Band-Aid, but give them solutions, right? I mean, you just presented a perfect one right there. You don't have to run 6 miles with your dog. You can walk 3 miles with your dog. And every quarter mile, do 10 air squats or do 10 lunges or do something just to move your body.
And to switch it up, to
Right.
to break up that, to help that mindset, like fear of whatever distance you're going for. Like you break it up. Like
Right.
you do this every half mile. You do
Every few minutes.
Every 4 minutes, yeah.
Have
like
a
go
timer
walk
go off on your
every
phone
5
if you've
minutes
got
on your
your
walk.
AirPods in,
Yeah.
or Have a timer, recurring timer every 5 minutes, drop and do 10 push-ups and 10 squats or whatever.
Reverse lunges,
Yeah.
air squats. Yeah.
And that's the empowerment side, right? It's like, hey, take control of your own, try to manifest your own destiny. You can't manifest yourself into a COVID immunity, but you can give yourself a better chance. The fitter you are, I don't know any doctor that's ever said, hey, you're too fit. That's not good for your health. It's like, no, actually, the fitter you are, the better your immune response is going to be, the better chance you have at fighting off this.
Yeah.
Because you've seen.
I'm going to say, though, the evil of COVID is sometimes it doesn't fucking matter.
And that's
how fit you are.
Yep.
You're going down. And I have worked some shifts, like busting my ass, sweating buckets, starving and thirsty, and not willing to get out of my PPE because I'm trying to keep this person alive.
Right.
And they are healthy,
Yeah.
fit-bodied young people.
And
who just go down.
And that fight is going to be over faster were they not fit and healthy because of the way their body responded to it. The
Could
viral, I mean, a lot of the nurses and docs who've gotten sick and on the East Coast that had just mass influx of patients and the viral load, right?
Right, your COVID burden,
Your COVID burden, your viral load exposure. It's just, right, the one, Paul uses the apple in the backpack analogy, but it's the straw. It's not the first straw. It's not the 10th. It's the last straw that was just too heavy.
Yeah.
It was just one too many exposures, or what. No matter how fit you are, but you're giving yourself a better fighting chance if you're fit.
Yeah, and sleeping well.
Let's not forget not only the physical aspect of this, but the mental toll. That fitness really does help alleviate because of those endorphins. It is a chemical release that helps your body cope with all the stress. So it's not even that you're healthier, you're also mentally able to combat the difficult situations that we are living in now. The isolation, the lack of routine. Because from day to day, my household does not look the same. They don't have to be at school. They can do an asynchronous day. And if they don't move their bodies, they get grumpy and short with each other and they don't feel good. And the depression sets in. And that has been a layer of health that has just really reared its ugly head during this whole thing. So it's not just physical health, it's also that mental health that fitness really contributes to.
Yeah, it's a better weightlifting. I think this was in the American Journal of Psychology. It was in a medical journal, like a big research study about weightlifting specifically as fitness, not just general cardio.
Lift
fitness
heavy shit,
is a
throw
better
heavy
antidepressant than most prescription medications.
Right, which is fascinating because then you get into, and generally, it's funny you say don't judge. We shouldn't be judging anybody really, but especially people who have comorbidities, right? The opposite side of that coin, or not the opposite side of the coin, but kind of in the middle of that coin would be, yes, 100%. Those people also have access to information as a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old, or they've had 30 trips around the sun to learn that what they know they're doing, they know is not the right way to do it. What's killing me...
When you know better, do better.
When you know better, do better. But if you choose not to do better, that's your choice. I'm fine with it. But what's killing me is the kids. Mm-hmm. And you've got kids who, it's like, oh, this should be this, that, and the other. It's like, dude, they're 9. They're 7. They have zero concept of how to just pick themselves up by them bootstraps and go be mentally fine. And they don't know why they feel like they feel. They just know what they feel.
Yeah.
And I've gotten some shit because some of the online stuff with the school and class, it's not productive for my child. Mm-hmm. And I know you've got at least one that's the same way.
Yeah.
And on any given day, it could be all 3. But it's like awesome. So instead of like expecting the school or the online to have an answer, I'm like, no, I know what the answer is. You're going to come work out. Mm-hmm. Or we're going to, go do something physically active. And wow, amazing how much better it makes you feel.
At 1:30, I do my little...
Your PE thing. That's what I was see, that's how wiffle ball toss right underneath.
Yeah. I have
just so you know.
12:25. Okay, yeah, 1:30. So I do this little... our little bubble is like our cul-de-sac,
right,
and the families that are there. And I do like every day that I don't work, I bring those kids out, and they all wear masks, and we do a big warm up together, and we do sort of like some flexibility, dynamic stretching before the run, and then we go run, and I make them run. Yeah. And we have like a 1 mile neighborhood loop that includes lots of hills that they do, and they've got their own timing devices, or I time them. And then like today's big day because we're going to the track. So we walk because we got to go up Overlook.
Sure.
Walking.
Overlook is like
I walk.
Not
I
a
don't
lot,
run.
Not a lot of people
I
run
walkie
up
jog.
Overlook, but so it's 1.3 miles to the track, and then
Right.
we do a big deal, like like I stand there like a coach with a clipboard, and like they run a timed mile, like going for time.
Right.
And then they finish, and we do some conditioning stuff. We do core work, and then we run home. So it's like that's like over 3.5 miles for these kids, and I mean, the parents of these families are just like, this is everything to them. Like they love it. They look forward to it. I've got one kid who's like maybe going to quit all his like basketball, baseball, and he's like, wait, can I do cross country? And I'm like, yeah, cross country is the shit, man. Yeah. And you'd be great. So it's just super fun. And then the one kid I texted you about, because I was so excited. This kid is a beast. Just goes after it. And then also anytime I teach him to pick something up, like I have them do a little bit of kettlebell, like deadlifts and stuff. And a lot of them are just so gawky, and their legs are out to here, and their knees are like this big, but their legs are like this big. The boys when they're
they look like baby horses.
Yeah. And then they go to like deadlift something. You're like, oh, whoa, no, hold on, like. But this kid, every movement, I'm like, you nailed it, buddy. Like you don't need a coach. I don't need to tell you how to do it because you just did it. It's been a lot of fun for me, and it uplifts me to like uplift others, right? That is a human condition. So I would encourage everybody to like find something that they can do to like help their little community. You don't have to go far, man. You don't have to go far or do much. Like it doesn't take much.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's like, again, like I said, the adults have access to and resources for the most part. They're independently capable of transportation. Kids can't. A 7-year-old can't call an Uber and go to a gym. Or they can't go somewhere. It's got to be within their community. But that's the thing that, like, at least with social media, the ability to get information dispersed is infinite now.
And how to learn how to do shit.
Right.
Like you can YouTube like
anything.
How do I draw?
Good or bad.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
Or how do I like what is a good technique like air squat look like? There's billions of videos that'll show you.
Or in Victor's case, art that he's not supposed to be drawing.
I don't want to do the class art project. I want to learn how to draw Sonic, like
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
With no pants.
The new fascination right now.
Winnie the Pooh, living his best life.
We have Pooh Bear. Yeah, Pooh with no pants.
With no pants.
But that's kind of the overarching message, at least, that I would love to see out more, is that like, hey, yes, this sucks. It sucks for everybody though. And that's the one thing, like, if you're, you could be, literally you could be the president of the United States and still get COVID. It's whether
duh. That way I was going to get COVID.
But the thing is, it's like, it's one of the few things that is universally impactful. Everyone can contract it. Yeah. Everyone can be negatively impacted by it, but everyone, whether socioeconomic status is irrelevant. You can't buy your way out of it, right? You can buy your way into different treatments and all that kind of stuff. But as far as that goes, you can't just avoid it. It's everywhere. Yeah, there isn't a single corner of the planet that doesn't have it.
There's no way to predict what your residual effect is going to be.
Right. And so if it's universally threatening.
Yeah. And when, by the way, has America, the United States of America as a nation, had a common enemy and not forged together and fought the living shit out of it, and that's, right?
The only time I really remember, and I'm not old enough, obviously, to go back multiple. I remember my grandpa talking about Pearl Harbor, and he was in the Navy in World War II and on a destroyer and all that kind of stuff. But September 12th, 13th, 14th, right after 9/11 is the last time I remember, and everybody was together.
And
everybody was like, holy shit, we got to figure this out.
Common enemy. We united like I've never felt ever in my life.
And I wonder, and it's exactly, I was hoping that would be this, and it hasn't been.
It should have been, and it could have been.
Well, it could have been, but I also wonder too if it's because it's kind of an existential threat because you can't physically see it, and it's not something. Because then you ran Boston, right? And the Boston Marathon bombings were a visceral. That was insane.
Yeah, that shook me for sure.
And that shook a lot of people because it was so right in your face. And this is not. This is ninja. This is subversive. It slips in between the particles, and it's really
but
hard
it's
to.
not-
requires you to be accountable only to yourself, and people aren't. They're going to take
Well, or they are
they're-
being accountable to their personal values, but not the group.
right,
And that's where-
they don't
I think
care about
it was a lack of
anybody.
leadership from the very top, like from the beginning. Like this could have been presented in a very different way, and this could have unified the nation. But our sitting president doesn't ever move to unify the country. So
And our social discourse is not one of unity. It's one for, hey, what side of the fence are you on? It's like, I'm on the middle. Like
Right.
I'm sitting on the middle of the fence because some of the things you say I like and some of the things you say I don't like. And some of the
Right.
things those guys say I do, and that's kind of the same thing with this, literally like talking about, you might have a kid that shouldn't be running, but I'll bet anything you're going to figure out a way to help him
Yep.
in the neighborhood to what's
yeah, I have a range of
right.
ability.
and
for
and,
sure.
and what's appropriate for him or her because of what they're ready for, or
Yeah.
quite frankly, do some things that you like to do and do some things that you don't like to do, but balance it out. It doesn't all have to be abuse, and terrible
Yeah, no,
and
I try.
miserable.
It's fitness, man. You can like mix it up, make it fun. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it sucks. And like I think that's the cool thing to sort of empower people
Right.
with is like, dude, a lot of days it sucks.
Yeah.
Like not every day is a good day. Not every day is like jump out of bed, rearing to go like sparkles and rainbows, and I'm farting unicorns, right? Like some days it's a suck fest, but then you do have your days that are just
Where
like
are
you feel
a
like
unicorn
Superman.
farting rainbows. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but see, you're doing a good job of, both of you, because I know Julie with your kids and mine. It's you guys are helping those young minds who don't have that many trips around the sun visualize a constructive end to, hey, participating in fitness or participating in the common movement of everybody wearing a mask, right?
Well, for the younger group-
taking that if a kid's watching TV and they see a plane fly in a building, they get that, right?
Yeah.
Or it's down the street, they get that.
Yeah.
This is so ethereal and existential that it's really hard for adults. Can't even freaking do it. I don't expect a kid to. So how, but that's part of the challenge is how do we get past that to where it's like, okay, kids are just parrots. They parrot what they see, they parrot what they hear, and having that message out there of healthy mind, healthy body, healthy mind, healthy body, whether it's group stuff in the cul-de-sac or your own family or whatever, more of that
and
messaging needs to be out
Sometimes it
there.
doesn't start with the mind. It can be healthy mind, healthy body.
Right.
Because very often those days where you are the struggle to make good choices starts with how you phrase something to a kid. If I ask my kids, have you worked out today? Of course they're
Right.
going to say no.
Yeah.
But if I switch up the narrative and say, what have you done to move your body today?
Yeah.
Then they think about just moving their body through space.
Right.
And it's not about accomplishing a goal. It's just about how did you move in this world and getting their body to move so that their mind can begin to think, or the reverse of that. Some days you put one before the other. Some days it's your mind that gets your body moving, and some days it's your body that gets your mind moving. And just being able to rephrase that in a tiny person vocabulary is super important. Super important.
I'm making sure they know that it's okay to not feel good and to
Right.
Yeah.
and it's okay to not want to do it if they have a day where they're just like in that sucky mindset. Like do everything you can to teach them how to switch that mindset. That's like super powerful for all humans
Yeah. How
to
do
be
we
able to do,
how do we
right?
switch that switch?
When you get defeated into those places of just like feeling crappy, and that's when you need the workout, right? But sometimes
Right.
it's hard to like get off the couch when you're feeling like that. So I work with them, and we've had some bad days out there. We've had some bad days, and it's funny. It's also hard because like the neighbor kids respond to me in a way that I think they would respond to a coach or a teacher because I'm
100%.
not their mom. But
Exactly.
then my kids are in the same mix and they respond to me like
your
I'm their
mom.
mom.
Yeah.
So when they're having a bad day, it's not pretty.
No.
When the other kids are having a bad day and I give my like uplifting speeches, they respond.
yeah.
And then my kids will just it's been hard, but it's also been great because I know that if I was doing this little PE thing with just my kids, they wouldn't even go out the door. They would not be
No, again,
excited.
it's
They
going
wouldn't
back
want to
to
do it.
showing up for
Yeah,
the people
exactly.
that you're with.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we joke about it all the time. Anytime Shannon's here, it's like Shannon's, she's our cardio spirit animal because she hates it more than anything else, but she still shows up to do it.
She does.
And it's like, okay, we can do, I don't want to do that. Like yesterday was, we had a big mileage kind of day and it was like, oh, this sucks. But I had Ryan and Paul, it's like, and we were all kind of at the same time doing it. And it's like just bitching to each other about this is stupid. But it wasn't stupid. And we were all in that same mindset Thursday, super tired, but we did it. And then we got done. It's like, God, yeah, I feel better.
Then you feel good.
Yeah. And I'm glad I didn't quit or I didn't, come up with, and sometimes stuff gets in the way and you just flat out, hey, dude, today, literally, we're going to sit and do nothing. Sometimes you just need that like different level of rest because you're just beat down and you need to just chill and slow down. My inclination is always to do more because I use it as a distraction to not have to think about or mentally process the shit that I need to mentally process. But then it all ends up piling on me anyways, and I have an anxiety attack, and it's like, oh, you dumbass, you should have just dealt with it, 3 weeks ago, stupid, because it was a snowflake then, and now it's an avalanche, and you're sitting here crying in the middle of, picking out a scone. It's like,
Does that happen to you?
Chocolate chips in
well, and the thing is too, it's like
sweet or savory.
literally like the benefits of having, because you've been married 18 years.
We've been
that's
together
me.
for 20.
20 years together, married
20
for
together,
a
married for 15.
big chunk.
15.
And you've been
18, together for 23.
right. And so I'm well past a decade with my wife. And so she never had experienced anything like that before it was kind of weird because
Before you?
Well, no, as far as like watching somebody have an anxiety attack.
Oh,
You know, and it's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And initially, like the first few times, I was like, I didn't even know. I was like, oh, what? Now it's like you can feel it and you can kind of, sometimes you can control it, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can push it back and then it's like, oh, I got to take care of some shit, And it's weird because it'll just like, literally like nothing was wrong. I mean, in the moment, but it's like, oh, it just had built up, kind of like, I guess, plaque almost, where it's like, oh, you got to go get it scraped off and just like blow through it. But we were driving to go get coffee and a scone. And it's like, I'm sitting there waiting to turn left. I'm like, oh, God damn it. I could just feel it in my chest.
Oh my gosh.
I could feel it in my chest. I'm like, fucking A.
It's happening.
Daughter's in the back, Alyssa's in the right. She could just see, like, because my breathing gets, and usually when it happens, it's at night when things like slow down, get quiet, which is why I don't sleep well, because it's like I have that hard time shutting off. But it was just like, son of a bitch. And literally I'm driving, I just start crying. It's like, okay, oh fuck, Dad's gonna have, his little cry fest and it's fine. But it just comes out. And part of it too, and I went back and looked, I was like, why did this build up and hit me here? Well, I hadn't worked out. I mean, it had been working, but it hadn't worked out in 5 or 6 days. I hadn't lifted anything in a not a week, but it was a pretty long period of time. Been doing a bunch of construction stuff, but I didn't have my normal outlets. And it just kind of piled on with some other stuff that's been, building up, and I didn't get that release. And if I'm constantly ventilating that valve, I never have a explosion. But when I don't, it stops, and it's like, oh, too much pressure in the system, and it's going to go. And I watch it I'm watching it develop with kids to where it's like depression, anxiety, but they can't articulate it that way. I mean, I can articulate it because I've talk to people about how to do that, but kids don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they don't know, and sometimes parents don't know what they don't know. And what I might see out of your kid might be the precursor to a panic attack, and you might be like, God damn it, get off your ass, quit being late, whatever, right? It's just because those filters where you're always constantly with that person in that environment, it makes it hard to identify, especially in the kids. They don't.
Parents don't have the bigger picture that when you're this close to the situation and you're in it all day every day, you're not gonna be able to identify those big macro changes.
And or identifying them appropriately that's what that actually is, where it's like, hey, my kid's just being an asshole. It's like, well, no, actually he's dealing with a lot of anxiety because of da. And it's just I don't think it's an accident that fitness outlets, i.e. doing something physical, help that pressure system. The kid, they still might not be able to articulate what it is that's going on, but they know they feel better.
Hopefully we are also encouraging everybody to have like other healthy emotional management tools, right? Because there's just going to be times in life, pandemic or not, where you just can't get your fitness on.
Right, exactly.
And so we gotta have our community and our network, and like, even if I don't get in here, I'm still texting all of you, and maintaining those friendships, because that is
Right.
really what matters, for me anyway. Like, the fitness can take breaks here and there, and I'm still fine, and I'll still be fit, and I can get it back, and like, that's all good. But without the relationships, that's my those are my pop-off valves. Those are my like unofficial therapy sessions, I guess, is like talking to
I
people.
think it's been interesting through this whole thing to see which friendships have blossomed and which ones have fallen by the wayside when you're not your prettiest self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you're falling apart, when you're saying, I'm not fucking okay.
Yeah.
And somebody is gonna write you off or say, I'm gonna show up with a bottle of whiskey and we're gonna do Adirondack chairs 18 feet apart. You know?
At the bottom of your driveway.
I'm not, alcohol is not my go-to. That's a off the cuff example, but being able to really see who comes alongside, who does offer really tangible support, whether it is humor or whether it's just you cry together. Like, you get on FaceTime and you're like and you just fall apart together. And they're there to pick up the pieces regardless. And if you have a good day, you get to laugh together. But it has really separated the I want to say the men from the boys, but that's really sexist. The women from the girls.
What's to say, the wheat from the chaff?
Yeah. The children from the adults. I don't know. Whatever.
The unicorns from the donkeys.
There you go. I like that one. The asses. The unicorns from the jackasses. But that's huge. Like, who your community is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Truly irreplaceable. You can replace
Integral
fitness.
to mental health.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we talked, you guys obviously haven't heard it yet, but Leo and Paul and I talked a lot about kind of even changing that lexicon from mental health, which is kind of squishy and soft and touchy-feely, and some people, especially guys, don't really like to. They don't like to hear that term, mental health. And so
I'd like to think less and less.
Well,
stigma.
It is, and one of the things that the three of us refer to as mental fitness. Like, are you mentally fit? Are you mentally fit for duty? Like, that's articulated in those job it's like, are you mentally fit right now? It's like, no, I'm not, or yes, I am, or well, I'm working on this, or I'm working on that, right? And being able to build that conversation around getting after not just a Band-Aid fix, i.e., oh, my kid's sad, put her or him on an antidepressant. No, let's actually create a conversation around what we can do holistically with this, and then also give them the tools to know that, like, hey, dude, every day is not going to be unicorns and rainbows. Some days are going to suck.
And if they need the antidepressant, take the fucking antidepressant.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But
just putting that in there.
And we'll just say that, like, hey,
holistic is great until it doesn't work.
It's just like, it's literally just like building a house. If I need a hammer, I need a hammer. If an antidepressant as a tool called a screwdriver or a hammer or whatever, it's a specific tool for a specific job.
Exactly.
And nothing replaces that tool. It's just that you don't always need a hammer. You don't always need a screwdriver. You don't always need...
Not an 8-pound sledge.
No, you don't. You always need an 8-pound sledge. Although sometimes that might feel better. But with the kids and the adults that are home, and the whole point of this conversation too is like, hey, we're a lot of different looking people and a lot of different levels of fitness and a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of different. And that's also awesome, because why should, I don't really like the people seeking followers or hey, it's like, no, let's find the system that works for you and empower that. Let's find the fitness that works for you. Because I could tell you flat out, I mean, our kettlebell boys, if you told them they had to run for fitness, you're going to get as many middle fingers as they can throw up at the same time, because they ain't doing it, But if we do cardio-based lifting, anything over 4 reps, they're all over it, right? And they'll crush it. But it's because it's what they like, it's what they've grown into enjoying, but it's also good for them, and it's healthy, and it's keeping them from having a heart attack and, being dependent on meds and stuff like that. But, with kids, it's like, let's find what they like, it's, and parents are great at that sometimes, and sometimes they're not,
Yeah, dude, kids have like absorbed the brunt of this shit. This whole pandemic has been laid on the shoulders and the backs of our children. And I mean, not that anybody did anything purposeful to
or wrong. It just happened.
Also public schools in this country are the only entity that financially don't get impacted by closures, right? So
Right.
it's easy to keep the schools closed because nobody's going out of business.
They're also the largest daycare.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
legitimately.
So yeah, now parents are, it's just a hard situation all around. Like parents, the demands on parents are tremendous. And often falling to women, despite like dual working households. Like the moms are picking it up. I mean, dads are too, but I think collectively as a nation, moms are doing a lot more.
In terms of educating, nurturing,
Yeah,
fielding the emotions and the
Exactly.
depression
Exactly.
and the swings that kids go through.
Yeah. And also the juggle, working from
balance.
home
Yeah.
and the kids. I mean, Mike is my like single dad. Any day I go to work, he's by himself working from home, and yeah, Mike does it all when I'm at work because I'm not home. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's rough.
it is rough. I mean, and we're what, 9 months in, 10 months
Yeah.
in?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's a little light at the end of the tunnel.
Hopefully.
I mean, it's, and having,
It's a pinpoint.
it's a pinpoint, but it's there. It's so I keep telling my daughter, we're closer than when we started, and it's like, it's kind of, how do you,
Not really.
well, but we're closer to the end than where we started. And it's because it's eating the elephant, right? We don't know how much longer it is, but we're one day to day closer
Oh, I
to
see
the
what you're
end
saying. Sure.
than
Okay.
yesterday. And so
Yeah.
instead of getting overwhelmed with like,
Yeah.
hey, I haven't been in school since March, which she hasn't,
Yeah.
and your kids, it's like, instead of looking at this whole totality of like, oh, I can't do it. How do I eat this elephant? One bite at a time. And we
Yeah.
don't know when it's going to be over. I mean, it sounds funny, but I literally spin this back around to like, how do I do a 10K or, whatever. It's like, well, I don't want to, but it's like, I compartmentalize it down into individual steps, one thing at a time. And
Break
I
it
don't
up.
worry about the whole thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, cool, there's only 2K to go. I can
Yep.
do that.
Yep.
And with all of this, including the fitness and people using themselves as hey, what's the best project right now? Getting yourself healthy.
Yeah.
Or increasing your health, and fitness. And it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But you can't run 18 miles until you get through that first 2 that suck.
Yeah.
Until your body starts to adapt to it. And I hope that with continuing conversations like this, and you guys continuing to do what you do out in the real world, in the environment, is that the next gen is going to be better than us.
I think so.
I do too.
Honestly, like I think the self-control and the self-drive that they have to do this life right now is going to be like applied to the regular world is going to be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Like the maturity that is required of our children to do this home learning, the level of independence that's required to do it. And even for my one who's not doing it well, like he's really little.
Yeah.
Like this is shit that like put this on a college kid and they probably wouldn't be able to do it,
Right. Well,
Like
yeah.
he's but his teacher is so amazing, and like we're working with him so diligently to like try to be so proud of him when he does it right.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do it right very much.
And
but like
I think it's okay to validate those times when there is that epic fail. Like you don't get it right all the
Yeah.
time, and part of life is really learning how to recover.
Yeah.
And how to say, hey,
Yeah.
blew this one.
Yeah.
We got another shot tomorrow, or we
Yeah.
got another shot with the next class or the next test. And take that and learn, right?
Yeah.
Because we're trying to teach our kids how to educate and then move forward. Like educate your psychosomatic system, educate your body, educate your emotions, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
So
And grow all those parts.
We can
Yeah.
dump that one in the experiment that failed and say we're not going to do that again, and then move forward. Like let's try something different.
Right.
We know that this, that scenario didn't work for you. What is going to move you forward and make you feel good and successful, and then actually follow through to succeed? And I think that these kids, I'm trying to parent a child that I had to ask her the other day. I'm like, I don't know how to parent you right now.
I've said that so
I
many
don't know how to
times.
adult right now.
When I was a kid, my mom kicked me out and said, don't come back till 5. you can take a snack with you, don't come back. And we're telling our kids, don't leave. So, you know, I think this is almost a catch-22. Like, am I parenting my child never to leave my home? And I had to ask her, I'm like, what is going to feel good to you? What, as a parent, can I do to make this tolerable for you? And that doesn't mean throw the rules out the window.
Yeah.
That means put something constructive in place. They can set their goals. They can set the parameters. But then us as parents can really sit there and hold them to that standard that they have now given us.
The social agreement that we have.
Yeah.
But I have really let all of my parenting ego go.
Go, totally. I had to sit and be
I'm
like,
a shitty ass parent.
what?
Like-
I've said, what do you need to feel proud of yourself at the end of the day? Like, I want you more than anything to feel proud of yourself at the end of your day.
I think us as a generation
And
right now, that has been a huge shift in parenting style
Right, like, because we're used to
because-
putting the expectations on them.
Yeah, we're
Well,
used to setting the bar,
Yeah.
and because we have never been in this kind of scenario, we don't know what bar to set or what's going to, you know. Back in the day, it was like, hey, grab a couple baseball bats and let's go
play.
Go play.
Yeah.
That's not an option right now with just whoever's down the block. Like, you have to be very strategic in the families that you decide to partner with, right? And that's not something that's not in our toolbox right now as parents.
It wasn't in the manual when she came out.
And it's not anything, you know, at least with when our parents were raising us, our childhoods were a little bit similar. We could still all go out to play. They still had some point of reference. And that's one thing that we don't have as parents right now. And so really bringing the kid on board and saying, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I don't know what
And
I can
being
offer as a
honest.
reward, right?
Being
Yeah.
honest with my kid. Like,
we don't do food. Food is never a reward in our
No.
house, and
No.
food is never a punishment in our house. So then it's like, well, fuck, like, we can't go anywhere.
We can't give them
'Cause
shots.
Normally it's like, oh, if you
vodka's not
yeah, if you
Vodka's not an option.
Not an
just to be-
option.
if you earn like X, Y, like this many days of doing this like really well, then we get to go horseback riding, or we get to go like, you know, out to dinner at your favorite restaurant. Like, we can't do that shit. So it's like to figure out those rewards has been really hard.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for us, it's been like tangible like things like laser tags, guns, and
Amazon.
But
and
really
video,
rely-
like a new video game, or like it's like things which I you know, traditionally don't really love to be,
Because you can't do
gifting
experiences
or-
right now.
exactly,
You
but we
can't
can't.
say, hey, we're going to go on a road trip.
I mean,
you
or go out
can,
to
but
ice cream.
You can't go.
They were begging to go out to ice cream yesterday. I was like, no, but I'll buy you some Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's the thing is too. It's like this won't be forever, but it's for right now. And I try to compartmentalize that with kids and be like, hey, look, you don't have to get it right. I'm not going to get it right. You're not going to get it right. You know, I'm going to blow it. You're going to blow it with whatever it is. But did you try?
Yeah.
If you tried, you'll go to. I've literally like I can't remember.
Did you give your best effort?
Well, that's the thing. It's like I might not have won, or I might not have gotten the best grade, or I might not have gotten whatever. But I busted my ass to do it, and I still didn't get it right or correct or 100% or perfect or whatever. But I don't have any regret that I didn't leave something on the table because I half-assed it, right? It's like, if I'm going to do something, I'm a full-ass it. It's like 100% all-ass. Just go. And,
hey, now.
you know, but to the thing, you know, that's the only thing is like with you know, any of the kids that I work with here, and I mean, we got some guys that have had some pretty significant family trauma during this whole thing, and it's like, brother, I can't tell you what's going to fix this, but what I can tell you is if you get to the end of the day and you did whatever you did with at least full try, you'll feel better about it. It might not be the outcome you want, but at least you won't have a regret going, man, I should have tried harder.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we're all going to at some point this will be in the rear view in some capacity. And what did I do at the time that I had, and what did I do to get through it? And is it something that's a positive life tool moving forward? And that's the only thing I really care about with the little ones. Like, hey, are we able to give them ways to handle, you know, conflict, for one, because now we're all trapped in the same house, especially with siblings. You got 3, you've got 2, you know, I've got 4. And it's, you know, like, oh dear God, you know, it's Thunderdome sometimes. And it's like, okay, nobody's broken, nobody's bleeding. Great. We're working on conflict resolution. Tomorrow we're going to work on spacing, you know, and just stay away from each other for a hot minute.
It's super important to be able to tell the kids, like, to teach them how to walk away.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes, you know, I
Not ignoring the problem, but just
That's
hitting
not
pause.
happening in my nose.
Your
Like, I'm
house,
just at a level
yeah.
of like, don't rub your bare penis on your brother without his permission. Like,
Without
you
his
can't-
permission.
You can't touch people with your penis without their permission. Like that, I'm just
Even
trying
if
to.
you're playing a
that-
joke.
We're down here,
down here,
Julie.
yeah.
we're not here yet.
it is different when I don't have two of the same sex at my house.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
It doesn't matter. No, not yet.
The Wild West. So with that, closing thoughts.
You know,
Don't rub anatomy on other people
without their
permission.
permission.
No means no.
No means no. But no,
That's right.
but in reality, one takeaway, obviously this is geared towards fitness of all kinds, mental health, physical health, social health. You know, what do you have to impart on everyone before the next time?
I'm gonna go with lift yourself up by lifting up somebody else. Either pick one person to lift up, pick a little group of people. If you have to do it virtually. If you can do it outside, like just put some masks on, meet up at a park, do a little like circuit thing. But do your part to lift somebody else up, and then we can have a collective effect that could be really positive to finish out getting through this.
Love it.
Yeah. Oh, it
Samesies.
yeah. I mean, truly, because if we're so self-centered, that doesn't help anybody else. And even even being self-centered and doing something just for ourselves isn't going to make you feel any better if society's collapsing around you.
Yeah.
So no, absolutely. I'm 100% with Dee on this one. Like, do something to make others feel good, because it does have that domino effect. It does have that ripple effect.
Boomerang comes back around.
Well, karma.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other.
But yeah, really, really help build those people up. Be a bright spot in their day. And it does come back around, and the day feels better. You feel better. Absolutely.
Love it. Awesome. You guys crushed it.
Thanks, dude.
Well over an hour and a half. You
Oh my
did-
God, seriously?
Right? Yeah. It feels like 15 minutes, doesn't
Who the
it?
hell's gonna listen to this though?
Well, at least my mom
At least Kevin.
and Paul and Leo to be like, okay, did we do better than them? Or, oh, God damn it, they crushed us, which you did. Just to be clear. Yeah. No.
Because everything where, Deanna's concerned is a competition.
Oh, for sure. It's like, okay, who can we beat? Awesome. Let's go beat that guy. And then let's beat that guy. And then okay, who else? Let's beat him too.
You guys, I taught my little running group, my kids, the trick of like, just stare at the person's back in front of you and bring them in. That's all you do.
Just reel them in.
Don't think
Reel
about
in.
your legs. Don't think about like going faster. Just put your eyes on their back and pull them in. It's a good trick, man. And they're so cute. They get so competitive with each other. I'm like, I love it.
My little army.
Love it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. You guys crushed it.
Okay.
next time.
Thank you.
Good job.